that already work here and are known here. There's so much siloed good work that goes on in our neighborhood. I think that is a piece. I was talking to 2 different daycares and I said, have you guys ever talked to each other? Like the resources you guys each, like I just had 2 conversations with you with 2 different daycares and they're like, no, I've never talked to them. I'm like, you should, because they have amazing resources to give you and vice versa. So I think that's a piece that I think is a good place to start and just say, hey, do you want to see change? How do you want to see change? And what we're hearing from our community is everybody is on board. Everybody wants to see change. Everyone wants to move forward. And the start is unifying, I think, the organizations that are here. And Steadfast is looking to hire a whole team in order to do that. So that's one piece. Social enterprise is another piece where we're starting to look at who are the social enterprises in the neighborhood that are already successful. We want to support those people, those social enterprises financially. We want to support them with giving them good workers. Why are they sustainable and others have come and gone? So we've talked to those people, and then we're hiring someone that will oversee social enterprise as a option to get a job through one of our social enterprise. And so that's another way out of poverty. So we're going to hire someone that is a master at startups and social enterprises and understands the needs of this community. So I think those are some good starting points. And I think that leveraging my relationships in real estate to bring in the funds that are needed on all levels is also a good place to start.
So I'm curious, is Steadfast a not-for-profit or a for-profit model, or both?
We are a social impact development company.
So unpack that for me. Explain to me what that means.
So I say to people that we are a for-profit company with a nonprofit personality. We struggled with the fact, are we a nonprofit or are we a for-profit? And we, coming from a nonprofit background with the Salvation Army, I know the struggles of being a nonprofit and not being able to necessarily move at the pace that you want to move at, and not being able to do things that for-profits can do. So we decided that we are smack dab in the middle. We are definitely still for-profit, but everything that we do, like becoming a B Corp, is all on a social side. So there's a middle piece, a middle ground called social impact. And so social impact is becoming quite a buzzword in business because it says, hey, you know what? We're not just a regular for-profit company, but we exist because we believe in something. It could be environmental, or it could be people, relationship, something. There's something different to our company. I ran a social enterprise a couple of years ago. It was a renovation company for men and women that were leaving an addictive lifestyle, and they needed a safe place to come and work. And I needed good people to renovate homes. And so we oversaw a social enterprise that was for the benefit of the people working there, but also for a company that made profit. And so it's a really great business model.
It seems that the not-for-profit model is morphing and changing as it becomes more entrepreneurial. With less funding available to it as a sector, it's had to have morphed into other things.
Yes, I know that I have struggled with government level of the idea of a social impact company. They don't like social impact companies, like BC Housing. They want a nonprofit. And I think that getting their heads around a social impact company, they're not there quite yet. And so I've decided after a year that we're looking to incorporate a nonprofit, because I think it's still a good 10 years out before higher level governments are able to get their heads around a social impact company. So I think we're going to be a for-profit and a nonprofit.
So let's talk about Steadfast Developments. How long have you been together? Is it a new organization?
Yeah, it's very new. February actually will be our 1 year that we decided to go, okay, here we go. So at the beginning of 2019, I had been in real estate for a couple of years on a residential side. And I had done very well, won some awards. And then I kind of realized, Cherie, what is it? Then you get to a point where you're like, what is it that you really want? And what I really want is a positive community working together. And so I thought to myself, if I can do this on a small scale, what happens if I can do this on a big scale? And so I took a leap through circumstances. I met my mentor, Troy Grant, of at that time, Sierra Lane Construction. And I just cold called him one day and I said, Troy, I'm looking to be mentored in multifamily developments. Like I have some real estate background, but I want to build buildings and create communities. Would you take me on as someone to teach? And he said yes. And he was so excited about the idea. I got to follow him around for a year, and we tried to put together a project over in Victoria that never actually made it off the ground. But the learning experience from following around Troy was something I'm not sure that any university might be able to offer. And so then that after that didn't take off the ground in Victoria, which was really, really difficult. An opportunity in the downtown east side, there's a nonprofit. I heard that they wanted to sell one of their pieces of land. And so I got very interested. And so that was in January of 2020. And I thought, okay, I think I could probably do this on my own without Troy. Although Troy is just such a wonderful human being. And he's like, I'm always here for you no matter what. And he's just a high level, integral human being. And so I ventured out. I incorporated Steadfast Developments, created a team. And during COVID, we started putting together the infrastructure and our mission, our vision. We worked on our business plan. So while COVID was happening, and this is the silver lining to COVID, that we had the time to sit and go through the grueling process of all these little details to actually decide who is Steadfast Developments. And so that's where we are today. Yeah.
This radio program and podcast is called The Conversation Lab. My name is Don Schaefer, and today we're speaking with Cherie White, who is the president and CEO of Steadfast Developments. So who's on the team?
There's the head of social enterprise, director of families and ending poverty. She's on the team. I don't actually have many employees, but I have a large consultancy team that is extremely experienced of architects, engineers, construction management, real estate agent, lawyers. I'm looking to eventually hire someone that will save all the data because there is such learning that is going on throughout this journey. Oh yeah, then there's the finance people. It just keeps going on. That's what's going to make Steadfast successful. That's what's going to bring the vision of the projects across the finish line.
So as all the moving parts come together, what keeps you up at night? What are your biggest challenges?
It has to be finances. If I was going to tell you the honest God truth, it sometimes is like, is the finances going to come in when we need them to come in order to keep going? Because I know that there's some wonderful nonprofits that are the ones that change this world. But because they don't have the finances, they just fizzle out. And I think that is an injustice. And so I think so what keeps me up at night is definitely the finances. As with any startup company, the challenge is to convince the right people that what you're doing is going to actually work and to invest in it. And so that's probably what keeps me up at night. I also have 2 special needs kids. And one is my youngest one, who's 14, almost 15, and he has type 1 diabetes. And so that's a challenge in itself, to get to knock at the door in the middle of the night saying, "Mom, I feel low. Can you help me get some sugar?" That's tough. And I have a 20-year-old who has autism, and he is one of the most unique individuals ever. He's a gamer and a streamer. He streams stuff, and a little bit of an entrepreneur as well. He struggles with, sleeping patterns and healthcare and stuff like that. So I think that as a mom, those are some things that are difficult and challenging. But as an entrepreneur, I think that the finances is the thing that keeps me up at night.
If people want to find out more about the work you do, or if they want to help, how would they reach out?
I have a website, steadfastdevelopments.com. I also have an email, Cherie@steadfastdevelopments.com. And those are 2 really good ways to get a hold of me. We are also, I'd like to mention, we do a brain trust quarterly. And so we're doing our 3rd brain trust on February 16th. It is a public forum. Anybody and everybody will be on that call. And that's where Steadfast takes a lot of its direction in how the community wants to pivot and change and dance in this revitalization project. So February 16th at 7:00 is our quarterly Zoom call where I do an update on land acquisition, finances, and where we're at with each one of the projects. We're hoping to do 10 projects in the downtown east side, and we're actively engaged on our first one called the Gatarian, which is an affordable housing project. And so there'll be an update on that. And so anybody, I'll have developers, I'll have neighbors, I'll have business owners in the downtown east side. I know that they'll be on that call. I'll have investors. I've asked council to come on several times. So that's another really great way to follow along on the progress of the revitalization grassroots project is going.
And I'm assuming if we go to your website, we'll find the link to that meeting?
Not yet, but soon.
Okay.
Yes.
So you mentioned the city, and I'm curious what your reaction or what your thoughts are about the city's plan or what the city's doing in the downtown east side.
To be very honest, I'm concerned. And the reason I'm concerned is because it doesn't seem like there's a vision for the future for this neighborhood. It's like, we have people sleeping in tents. We need to do something right now. And granted, they do. And that is their responsibility. Absolutely. But we need to also think, what is this neighborhood going to look like in 5 years and 10 years? How can we move this neighborhood towards a family-friendly place where people feel safe in this neighborhood? Because there are people that don't feel safe in this neighborhood. I don't. I feel very safe in my neighborhood, but that's because I've built relationships. But I am concerned that the city is trying their best to just deal with the right now and not the future. The mayor talks a lot about long-term, sustainable, affordable housing, and Steadfast is saying, hey, guess what we want to build? Long-term, sustainable, affordable housing. And, I would really appreciate the support of the city to come behind Steadfast and put Steadfast up as a possible solution and get those development permits through so that we can move people from Strathcona into long-term, sustainable, affordable housing. And I'm just going to keep at it, and I'm just going to keep going. Hey, city, I'm not going away. I think I am the